Oh, okay.
I never said. I'm not imposing anything.
The concept of God, that is Islam is made of two things. Oh, I don't want
You don't have a okay.
Jesus Christ. So I'm asking you, what is the son of Jesus called? Because the Father loved the world, sent his son to the world, called Jesus.
Oh,
So what is Jesus' son called?
yeah, I want to see that as well. I want to see that for a long time.
So he doesn't do what the Father does. Jesus is begotten by the Father. The Father is not begotten by any. So he doesn't do what the Father does again. The Father sends Jesus. Jesus cannot send the Father nowhere. He'll get smoked. Do this, say this.
Wherever the Father does, I do.
But he hasn't. I've just shown you.
What do you mean?
So what's Jesus' son called? Jesus, God loved the world, he sent his son. So what's the son of Jesus called? You're a Christian. I'm not talking to answer. What's Jesus' son called? Why are you running home? She should run. Why are you running
Is he Christian? Is he Christian? What is it about? Is it?
Yeah, I have a little bit.
So God is not physical, God is not within space, time, matter, energy, completely transcendent. So often when people speak about God,
Most ever have religion. Most ever have religion share.
well, for example, some of the branches, they would describe God in an anthropomorphic way. They would say things like God. So when I say spiritual entity, I'm not going that far. I'm just saying there's some spiritual entity. Now of these two entities,
Sorry guys, I'm late.
you're taking a naturalistic. I'm taking all to do with the context whose view is more justified. You agree where we are so far?
Yeah.
Why do you think my view is incoherent?
I don't think it's incoherent.
Okay, so I misunderstood you. I thought you said my view.
I don't think it's incoherent. No, I just think it's not like you.
So now I'll ask you, if I was to put to you that I think your view is less justified than mine, I'm going to ramp up my argument against it, but for now, less justified. Based on the fact that it is very unlikely that we have a naturalistic explanation because of the level of specified complexity. It's not these. saying Joe is a great guy who's wearing a red jacket. It's DNA that can be read from left to right and 3D, and all of this complexity which explains our structure, our behavior, our ability to reason. All of these things for me jump out and call out for an inference which makes much more sense in my worldview of there being a supernatural creator.
Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of, it does actually tie into the thing I said earlier about how I think the rationality is quite thin, like stance on this, right? Is that like obviously if you're a Muslim already, then yeah, it kind of is rational for you to think that, I suppose. I mean, maybe at least. But so, why is it? So the sheer amount of information in it makes it unlikely. Is that the point?
The level of specified complexity makes it highly unlikely that such a thing best explained by the laws of nature and time space.
Why is that?
Simply because in our human experience, we have seen specified complexity as the result of the mind. Now I'm going to add something in here. Which you may not have considered about my worldview.
Yeah, I deny that thing about as being a result of the mind. So you said that when we see specified complexity, and again, I just want to reiterate, I'm basically just interpreting you as talking about information in general. That it's the result of the mind. I deny that. I will keep doing the same example. I promise you I will. No matter how many times you ask, I will.
I want to give you one thing about my worldview which you're going to disagree with.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? I do not believe that the belief in God should be only inferred from nature. I start off with the belief there is a God. That's my worldview. Okay? Do you think that's coherent?
It's coherent. I wouldn't do it myself. Like, it's not my cup of tea.
You're a naturalist. So you start on the other spectrum. The other way.
I don't start.
We have to start with something like metaphysics, right?
Start with metaphysics. Really. I mean,
Hard
like,
to have a perspective that's respectful.
yeah. So, I mean, basically the tack I'll take here is I think that you start with seemings, the way that things seem to be, and you kind of work backwards to metaphysics, and then you use metaphysics sometimes.
Okay, so you build metaphysics and empiricism. I disagree with that.
Not necessarily empiricism. So when I say see the way things seem to be, I don't just mean empirically, basically, but like, so for example, it seems to be true that one plus one equals two, right? That's not, and as you said earlier, it also seems that is not an empirical truth.
So you're only speaking about concepts and building your worldview by starting off with concepts, and if those concepts are coherent, and then applying that to the world. Because I'm very clear, I start off with
I think that
most things I speak to say we start off with the root factor.
Right, okay. Well, look, I mean, I can't account for what I'm saying.
Because you said you build it.
So, but the seemings can basically be anything, right? Like and one of the truths that there are.
When you say buildings, they are the mind. Do you mean other minds in materials?
No, it's in the same sense that
That's good.
Illusion. So that's not really
well, I mean, the word metaphysics doesn't have to mean supernatural stuff. Like,
no, it doesn't.
you can have materialist
It
metaphysics.
doesn't, but it means non-physical. Non-physical doesn't necessarily.
That's just not how I'm using the word. So, like, the way that I'm using the word metaphysics, like to have a metaphysics is just to have some kind of view about the way that the world is structured or something like that, which almost means nothing. Right? It's very like, do you know what I mean? Like, the word metaphysics means very little. But I don't know. So what's
I'm trying to understand. You said you're coherent.
yeah, probably. Yeah, about justification.
Yeah, I know.
do not build your worldview starting off with the idea.
Yeah, no. There's a big old circle. Basically, it's happening.
As long as it's coherent.
Yeah, I mean the analogy is sometimes it's like repair. It's like pieces of shit where you construct it and repair it as you go, right?
Are you a pragmatic coherent? It's about how you experience the world and you reconstruct your...
I mean, see, like, in the analogy that Quine uses, you have your core beliefs and your peripheral beliefs. And the core ones are kind of like
She wants to do. She wants to know
what you would describe as the foundation.
You have a web, and as you're going inside of the web, you get mathematics.
Really basic physical principles you believe in.
You get logic.
All that good stuff.
So the kernel that you agree with, that you know for certain, what is it?
Well, but the whole point of the web analogy, right, is that there's a centre but there's no foundation. So you can kind of reform a centre without literally destroying the structure of the web.
You can't challenge those.
Why are they doing that to yours?
That's pretty extreme.
I think you can, yeah. I mean, I believe in them, but I think you can challenge them. So, like,
What would you? So let's just say right in the core, right in the centre, the world is real.
yeah.
Okay, can that be challenged?
Yeah.
Solipsism.
I don't know. I think it can be challenged. I believe it, but it can be
Okay,
challenged.
how would you challenge it? I think it's impossible to challenge.
Yeah, well, I think it's very difficult to challenge. I'm not denying that, but like,
I'm saying it's impossible.
in a psychology man, I think it was. Huh? Matt, why?
Keep an eye on me.
This is the point at which we're going to divert from here because
Thank you.
to be honest, he's not coherent. He's not
Matt's a
coherent.
nice guy, but he says mistakes.
He's not coherent.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know if his own reality is true, and he doesn't think anyone else can know their reality.
He's shifted his position too many times.
Well, you're allowed to change your mind.
I want to challenge you on this, right? You're saying we can challenge the idea that the world is real. So I want you to give me a reason for us to doubt it.
Well, what I'll do is I'll give you the broad reasons why I think the world is real, and then the challenge that could come is if someone denied that evidence. No. So, I think that I basically think that the kind of regularity that we experience in many different ways, we experience regularities, right? And whether that be like physical regularities or regularities in the way people behave, like personalities and stuff like that. Just the best way to explain it in the standard kind of influence the best explanation way is by appealing to external objects. If it was the case that your experience of the world this is possible, it's very unlikely it's going to happen. I'll grant you that, but it's possible that every single regularity or like regular feature and structure of your experience just goes away. In which case, my experience of coherent individual people and objects and like the world over time and stuff like that, all of that goes away, and I can't get a grasp of which things I think are caused by objects anymore versus like there's no distinction I can make between hallucinations of my own mind and actual objects as well, because my experience of the world is so fucked up, right? That is the sort of case where I might doubt that there's an external world, but that's not what's happening. So I don't.
But there is an I.
You're nodding, right?
No,
That makes sense, right?
There is an I. You do use I.
Yeah.
So you know that you exist.
Experience some kind of ego death, right? I mean, I've done it before. It's pretty crazy.
So when you say I,
Yeah.
you believe you do exist as a conscious being.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the world is real for you.
That part of the world at least, but normally when people talk about an external world, it's just other stuff as well, not just.
Okay, so even if you're a brain in a vat, the vat is within a world.
Yeah. So
It doesn't end.
Yeah. So.
That's why I'm saying it's incoherent to challenge the idea that the world is real.
Yeah. So. Maybe. I mean.
What do you think of Descartes' meditations then, when he builds a worldview starting with these first principles?
Sorry, really quick. To go back to the brain in the vat thing, just having to think about it. So there is this thing that David Chalmers has said before, right? He wrote a book about like simulations or something, and the point he made, which I think is basically correct.
The hard problem.
Huh?
The hard problem?
No. It's a different thing. He basically said that it was like a book about virtual reality or something. He basically said that if you were, say, like a brain in a vat hooked up to a computer that stimulates your neurons and kind of simulates experiences of people and things and objects and laws of physics and things, that in a sense, basically everything you're experiencing is actually real. It's just that the fundamental nature of the things you're experiencing is different to what you thought it was. You thought it bottomed out at like atoms and particles and things like that, but actually it bottoms out in like, you know, facts about the hard drive and CPU and RAM of the computer that your brain is hooked up to. The objects are all there, but they're in the hard drive, right? They're in the hard drive and they're in the RAM.
That's a non sequitur, though.
I'm actually agreeing with you. I'm saying that there's a sense in which you really are tapped into an external world, even if you're a brain in a vat.
That's my point.
Yeah. But the thing is, so the thing about the brain in the vat thing is that you do still end up losing the notion of like external minds.
But the world is real. Unless
you had a supercomputer, because it's a hypothetical, right? You can imagine it's as powerful as you like. And obviously you're going to disagree with this because you're not a physicalist. But if you were a physicalist like I am, and you thought that in principle a computer could simulate a brain or a mind so perfectly that it just is a mind, then you could have a supercomputer that simulates everything basically to the amount of detail that you think it really exists, and also simulates the other minds to the extent that there just actually are other minds in the computer. Basically what you've got there is a situation in which everything you believe is actually true, the fundamental nature of it is just different to what you thought it was.
That scenario seems to have an assumption about consciousness, which is a material assumption.
Yeah, it does. But anyway, the thing is, we were originally talking about the external world or whatever. This might not be relevant.
But do you see why that's a very problematic scenario for someone like me who doesn't believe in that material assumption of consciousness? That may work for you, but it wouldn't work for me.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So it's not. So you haven't provided an argument. You've simply.
I was actually agreeing. That was me kind of agreeing with the thing you said about the brain and the mind. Like actually,
because what I feel what you're doing is you're restating your position. But what I was looking for was something deeper. I was looking for a justification for doubting reality, and I don't think you have one.
No, I don't think there is one.
Okay, that's my point. That's my point.
But originally, what you said was, is it possible to doubt it? And what I sketched was a situation that we don't live in, right? Because I do believe in the external world, so I have to say that.
I said something stronger. I said it was incoherent. I mean, I believe it to be incoherent.
What's incoherent about the thing I said then, right? So like,
it's incoherent to doubt the world is real.
Well, so
I am real.
Yeah. So the scenario I gave, right, where you're kind of basically like your sensory experience of the world is just like utter noise. Like it's just there's no way to discern signal from noise, right? Like in such a way that you could cobble together a notion that there are coherent objects that exist over time, have properties, so on and so forth. You said, but you still exist, so there is still a world, because if the world is just a collection of objects, then I grant that, that's true. But normally, when people are talking about an external world, they're talking about the stuff other than that. And when I was, so yeah, I don't know. And then also, if you do experience an ego death, I mean, it might be the case that you have that kind of completely noise signalless experience of the world, including a complete ego death, in which case, you no longer believe in anything, right, because you don't exist.
I don't think we're disagreeing right now.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Really. What are you doing, sorry?
How do you know this is source materiality?
I think there's good reason. So, look, really quick, I will answer the question. We have to get around this thing, which is that justification not provide certainty to give you knowledge. You can have uncertain but very likely knowledge.
Okay. So that would mean for me to say that I don't know of anything that contains information that isn't sourced by intelligence. You can't challenge it.
Why does that entail that? Sorry, I'm confused.
Because you would have to demonstrate to me that there is something that contains information that isn't sourced by intelligence.
Yeah. So my example.
Your opinion wouldn't help.
So my example of the atmosphere around us, right, is an example that I know it. I claim to know it because there's justification to believe that it didn't come from intelligence.
No. What's the justification?
Well, like theories of geology and the formation of atmospheres. Like, there's no person that puts the atmosphere
That mean
there.
you're positive there is no God.
Well, so if your argument here is like, well, what, you know, who put the laws of physics in? I know, yeah. Who put the laws of physics in the atmosphere are basis for that? Then you're making a cosmological argument.
No.
You are.
Not at all. What I'm saying to you is this: I'm making a creation argument. Even Richard Dawkins doesn't say there is no God. He just says he doesn't accept it. Okay, for you to say you know that this is natural, but if it wasn't, there is no God.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
I think it's a completely live option. I think it's a completely live option. Yeah.
No, every atheist says they don't know that it's not believe it.
I think I've got reason to believe. I mean, it depends how. So, and again, I'm not trying to be kind of avoidant here. It does depend how you define God. Like, it matters a lot. What do you mean by God? Literally everything.
Could, yeah.
Could have, yes.